In this session of providing Jamf Pro access for specific tasks, we'll cover creating web clips for direct and specific access into Jamf Pro to be deployed to limited Jamf Pro admin users. And we can use self-service for that deployment if we choose. Before I get into this session, I'd like to remind you that this session and the others in the series are really supplemental to the overall Jamf 100 videos, and I highly recommend that you've taken a look at those before you jump into this. I'm going to basically extend what they've done in talking about some specific use cases. In this situation, we're going to look at creating links to provide sub-admin users easy and direct access into the specific tasks they want to use. We'll look at simply creating web links that we can share out to them, and the process of actually creating a web clip that we can deploy to them through self-service. And especially for those admin that are accessing Jamf Pro on an iPad, it's terrific because they can go into self-service, get the link, drag it onto their desktop and put it in a folder and have it readily available for when they need. And other than logging in, it pretty much takes them right there. So let's go through the process. I'll log in. And while I'm doing that, of course, logging in and getting into Jamf Pro is not rocket science. As a former librarian and user of several student information systems, I really think it's just a workflow, and you could certainly, and I encourage you to train other people to do that. However, going in and logging in, and I am in the full Jamf Pro as a full admin, so I can see that in the upper right-hand corner. I can go over, and in this case, I wanted to be in users. I'm going to go down to static user group. And I want to go to a static user group that's called No Camera Access Sim, or Saltmarsh International Middle School. If that user had been logged in only to a site, they'd have a shorter list. But imagine doing those steps and then going to assignments. At this point, they could either search or scroll through the users to check or uncheck those that need to have this static group applied, which then applies the profile to remove the camera. Pretty common task. Now, rather than doing those 5 or 6 steps, I'm going to go ahead and go up to the address bar, highlight and copy the URL. And I'm going to switch to my notes folder. In the notes folder, I've already gone ahead and pasted several URLs to some tasks that I want the administrator to be able to do. I could add other ones like links into a profile for website restrictions so that they could modify the list of websites, but this is the list that I want this user to have. I could simply go ahead and share that with the user. And the thing that they could do, they could go ahead and simply click on one of these links. So I'll click on the No Camera. It's taken the web browser right into Jamf Pro, and if they log in, I can see by the upper right-hand corner that I'm in Saltmarsh International Middle School, and they don't have any other sites, and it's taken them right to the static user group, right to the point where they can go and click on assignments and search, or click on the user they want to add or remove from the static group. That's all they had to do. No navigating around, just going directly to it. Rather than sending them the list of links, we're also going to go through the process of making a web clip that we can deploy to them. I'll switch by logging out. Need to get back to the full admin. For this, I'll need to go into Devices. And you know what? The one thing I haven't done much in this series is use the new features of Jamf Pro. And since we're kind of far along, I'm going to go ahead to the bottom left and collapse the menu. Because I know that this cog is Configuration Profiles, and it even gives me that hint. I click on that. Now, if I look under this, I have all the sites available. So I see a lot of different configuration profiles, but I see the one that down near the bottom that says Web Clip No Camera SIM, or Saltmarsh International Middle School. I'm going to go ahead and click on this one I already created rather than starting from scratch. And it's really about trying to save a little bit of time so I can show you the process. I'll go ahead and click on Edit down in the bottom right just to make things a little bit easier to read. So under General, I've given it a name specific to that site, specific for what I want it to do. I've given the description, web clip for direct access to no camera static user group. It's going to go to this specific site. I'm going to go ahead and put it under the management category, or I'm going to put it under the category I created called iPad management. Make it available in self-service, which is the intent. If I go ahead and, well, from here, what I want to do is go ahead and choose one of my options, that is for web clip. As soon as you choose that, you'll see that I have a name, and I pasted the URL that I had copied previously. I chose to make it removable, and I'll tell you there's really no point in putting an icon here because unlike apps, I can't get that to stick. I also can't make it deploy directly onto their desktop or into a folder. I can only put it in self-service. They'll have to do that little bit. So I have this set. I'll look at scope, and I've already gone ahead and scoped it to a user group and also to a specific user. Self-service is where I gave it a little bit more information so that when the person goes to it, they can see this if they click on the information. And it even tells them to go ahead and make a folder on their desktop and drag this to it. One of the reasons I wanted to show you in one that I had already created was to remind you of the clone feature. Because if I'm in a site, I can go ahead and use this initial one to go ahead. I can change the name, I can change the URL, and still deploy that out to the user. I can also go ahead and continue to clone this so that I'm making some for other sites. And I recognize if you have lots of sites, you might see this as being time consuming. But imagine if you've handed off the task to somebody in a building. You have a sub-admin there. Perhaps they could be making these clips to send to people. It all really depends on where you're at and what you're looking to try to accomplish. So I have my web clip all taken care of. I know it's going to go to self-service, and I know it's going to go to my user group and a specific person also. And I'm saving, and I'm done. Getting this out of self-service, relatively easy. They simply go in, and since I already have a category labeled iPad management, they'll see the one or several links that I've deployed to them as a web clip. They'll go onto their desktop on their iPad, and most users at this point already know how to drag apps or web clips together to make a folder. I'll actually have videos in the series aimed at the end user who will be getting this web clip. The video will show them how to take the web clip from self-service, move it to the desktop, put it into that folder, rename the folder, and then how to use that clip to access Jamf Pro. That's all for now. Thank you very much.